he's no longer with us, and yet he's with all of us. To me, his reality is not something that ended on March 7th, 1952, when he left his body. His reality is today. I feel him with me all the time. I see him in many of you. That reality that he brought into the world was not a historic event, although it was also that. It was a new vibration, a new dispensation that will last for a long, long time, perhaps forever on this planet. Just as all the great saints who ever lived are still living. They can be just as active in people's lives whenever we come onto this planet in time, because they are beyond time. And that's how Master is, beyond time. It was, he was so human. And yet so full of love, so kind. In all his dealings, you were dealing with a God-man and a man-God, and you couldn't tell which was which. There was this lovely story, I think I've mentioned it in my book, The Path, of how he went out to a shop. He had a little collection of umbrellas. He used to collect things more to keep his mind down to the body than for anything else. Umbrellas couldn't mean much to him, after all. Somebody who could roam around the astral, or the universe in God. But he bought this umbrella, and he haggled the man down because he felt, well, he was representing a spiritual work. He should get the best price possible. He should be practical. And so he knocked him down to the best price he possibly could. And then, having gotten this absolute bargain, gave him twice as much money as the man asked for. And the man said, "Oh, you're a gentleman," and he gave him his best umbrella. And Master came back, and I remember him saying, and he said, that was an awfully poor rug he had in his shop. I think I'll buy him a new rug. But this kind of sweetness that was under all the, after all, he was a conqueror too. He was a man who had to build a great work. He was very, very strong and dynamic, but underneath that, there was this lovely sweetness of nature that pervaded everything that he did. You could always, sometimes he'd have to scold us. I know when he scolded me, I'd look into his eyes, and I'd see that look of regret in his eyes, that if only he didn't have to scold me, but I needed it. It made me feel bad for making him scold me. That was the other thing that amazed me when I look at him. He wasn't there. He was everywhere. You weren't looking into the eyes of a person with a personality.
You can't speak of him as a personality, but yet his kindness was unbelievable, so great. In his poem, God's Boatman, he said, I will come back to this world, if need be 1 trillion times, as long as one stray brother is suffering by the wayside. That kind of compassion, most people, when they attain liberation, they just think, thank God, I'm out of it. They don't want to come back. Very few people have this thought, to suspend their complete merging in that absolute bliss, to come back and help other people. We have to realize what a sacrifice the Masters make for us. Jesus too, Babaji too, Larimasha, Sri Yukteswar. That's a great thing to have. We're very blessed. And if he was that way, we shouldn't gulp and say, well, great he was. We should say we should be that way too. We should be generous to others. We should help other people. We should be humble as he was. We can't be as humble. One time somebody praised him for his humility, and he said, how can there be humility when there's no consciousness of ego? But Master had this love for everybody. He saw everybody as his own. Well, I could go on and on, but I want you to understand one thing above all. As he was great, so we should be great. As he was kind, so we should be kind. As he was free from ego, we should be free from ego. Don't ever say, he was so wonderful, but I can't do that. You can and you must if you're ever going to find freedom. And you have no choice but to seek freedom, if not today, the next day, if not this day of Brahma, the next one. But why waste time? Do stay loyal to it as long as you live, because that is your path to salvation.